Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Glenn McGowan. This is Edwards Bell, and today I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to replace the rear window lower trim for BMW E46 Coupe 2000 to 2006. It's this piece right here. So it's either chrome or shadowline on your car, which is the black trim, and along that there's this rubber that breaks away through time. It's either missing on your car or it just looks really gnarly and it's just broken in little pieces, which mine is. So you had to buy a new piece of trim, and it looks like this. You can still get these new from ECS Tuning. They run from like 75 to 80 bucks, something like that. You can get left and right side, chrome or black. And they're essentially just held on with double-sided tape like that. And then there's one little push pin on it. That's when you open up the door in there. So you gotta remove that, pry up the old trim, and then we're gonna clean up the area really well and sit this in there. You don't have to take the rear window out. You can just open it and close it if you need to get in certain areas. For some reason, if your window motor is broken, you can go inside the car in the back and grab the motor and remove this little cup here like that, pop this out of the glass, and then you can open the glass as needed for the most part. Just don't pull out too far because it will break off. So that just gives you a couple options too as far as getting in there. But besides that, you don't really need to take the glass off like I said. So it shouldn't be that big of a job. So we're gonna work on prying this off right now, cleaning up all the old glue and getting this new one on.
This week's video is brought to you by LCOBMW parts. Visit our online store for E36, E46, and E90 parts, or follow us on Instagram at LCOBMW. All the links are in the description below.
So here's an up-close view. You can see that. Looks nasty. So I'm inside the car here. I ended up just pulling this cone back and pushing the little motor piece out. So now I can kind of open and close this easily here. Instead of opening the window and closing the window, going in and out of the car, I can just kind of grab it from the back and open it. So inside the door here is this little plastic pin, and you want to actually keep this pin because the trim does not come with a new one. So you can use like a plastic pry tool like this to get behind here and work that out slowly. Or if that doesn't work, a pair of side cutters here, just gently grab it. That's what that looks like there. Put that aside. And now with any kind of plastic pry tool, just get underneath this thing and just start working it up. And just take your time with it, slowly pry up on it. It's glued on there pretty good, or taped on there pretty good, so. All right, so I'm just kind of going down here, just kind of pulling this off, and it's not very pretty, but I'm prying out this outside first, because there is a piece that kind of goes underneath here. So I got that main piece of trim off, and now I'm taking my pry bar and I'm pushing it all the way underneath the trim here, essentially loosening the double-sided tape off of the car. So you almost want to get that all freed up, push it under, pry it up like that. And that'll make it easier when we start pulling it out of here. Okay, now I'm just opening up this glass and you can see the trim here, and I can just kind of lift up on this. And it's nice having this disconnected from the actual motor there, because you can pull it out a lot more and it gives you a lot more room to work in here. And you can see this is just coming all up like that now. So once you have the trim removed, you're gonna have all this double-sided tape left over in there, and it's kind of underneath here. So we're gonna start the cleanup process with this now. So I'll show you what I use. So I use a rubber wheel here. This is good for taking like stickers and stuff off. So I'll use this mainly just for this top piece that's on here that's kind of exposed, because you can't really get this underneath the glass. You could use like a plastic razor blade. That's probably the best thing to use. If you don't have that and use a metal razor blade, you have to be really careful because you don't want to scratch any of the paint. Now, for some reason, if you're underneath the glass getting the tape off with a razor blade and you scratch the paint there, it's not the end of the world, because remember, the trim sits on top. But using a plastic razor blade or something like that, or a plastic scraper tool, you can really kind of push on it hard and get it up. But if you don't, just be really careful with a metal razor blade. I also use like some sort of cleaner. I'm going to just use Windex as I have it here, and it just kind of helps get all the little stuff off of there. All right, so just make sure you clean it up really good, obviously. Make sure it's clean and dry. You can use soap and water or Windex like I'm using before we put the new piece on. And make sure you get behind here too. Make sure there's nothing sitting back there. Stuff like that. Okay, I'm getting ready to put this on now. So the piece that goes back here has this like backing for the double-sided tape. And we're essentially going to pull that down just a little bit and kind of out here, because once we get it set in place, we're going to pull the tape off kind of down and out, which I'll show you in a minute. But first, get your piece and kind of trial fit. Get a plan on how you're going to put this under here, because it does go underneath the glass here. So you essentially have to kind of have it lifted up underneath, and it tucks under this gutter drip rail piece here, and then it goes all the way up in the front. And you can see where there's this piece here that the little pin goes into. You want to make sure that it's right up against this, that it's not too far forward like this. So get it kind of fitted the way you like it, and then we're going to pull these little pieces out, tuck it up underneath, and finally place it, and then we'll pull them down, which I'll do right now. Just enough so they're out of the way that you can grab them, like this here. But I'll zoom in here once I get this set. So you really have to kind of push it back this way and back towards inside of the car too. Once you get it kind of seated where you need it, it should fit flush against the pin here and then right underneath the gutter here. And now I have these pieces sticking out like this here, and then we're going to start pulling them like this. And just go slow, and as you do it, make sure you have pressure against this as you're pulling it down. Just go slow. And just don't pull too hard where you actually rip the backing off here, and then you're kind of stuck with it being loose. The small ones like the backs, you can kind of pull that ahead of this forward one, which is the thicker one. Like that. Oh no, that was it. It stops right there, and then the shorter one goes all the way up to here. That, and just push it down real good. Like that. And last but not least, the little pin. And after that, don't forget to hook up your window motor again, but that's pretty much it. So here's an up close view there. All right, so that's it. So not a really big project to do, but something that you're probably gonna have to do if you do have a coupe at some point, because they just all kind of go bad eventually. If you have to do the other side, same process. The hardest part of that is just cleaning up all of the residual double-sided tape from the old trim. But once you get that cleaned up really nice, it's pretty easy to get in there. So just make sure it's lined up really nice and take your time with it. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.